Good evening, Valley Stream families. I'm Christian Bowen, the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction in the Valley Stream Central High School District. Very glad that you're able to join us tonight for our second Parent Forum, which is part of the Summer Bridge program. As we've shared previously, we have 5 student forums with varying topics, which we will highlight today. And this is our second Parent Forum with other additional items are available on our district website. You can access our newsletters, which has resources, as well as recordings of these forums. Tonight's discussion is how to support your child's transition back to school. This forum is a webinar, so our presenters will speak to you and you will see their faces, but they cannot see or hear you. We have enabled the chat feature, so if you have questions related to supporting your child, we ask that you send those in that chat column. If you do have any other further questions related to the logistics of school opening, we do have a resource available on our website called School Reopening, and that will have the PowerPoint, forums, FAQs, anything related to the ins and outs of school. We appreciate your support and, of course, supporting your child. We have a panel of staff members from multiple buildings who have worked together tonight. I ask at this point that they introduce themselves. And again, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi and welcome. I'm Miss Alimo, the orchestra teacher from Memorial Junior High School.
Hi, I'm Smitra Bruce. I'm the art teacher at North.
I am Karen Cooney. I'm a school counselor at South High School.
Hi, I'm Karen Grant. I'm a school social worker at South High School.
Hi, I'm Carrie Haddock. I'm a school psychologist at South High School.
Hi, I'm Kelly Whitney Rivera, and I'm the District Director of Guidance.
And hi, I'm Jen DeMayo. I'm the Director of Instructional Services for the Valley Stream Central High School District. Thank you for joining us tonight. We hope you enjoy the presentation.
All right, so first we're going to start off by discussing how to speak to your child about the transition back to school. So your child might be feeling a whole range of emotions. They might not really be sure what they're feeling, what they're thinking. They might be nervous. They might be looking forward to going back. So really a variety of things. So it's important to ask your child what they are experiencing, what they're feeling, what they're thinking. Also consider validating their emotions. So telling them that what they're feeling is okay and it's normal to be nervous about going back to school. You know, talk about any questions that they might have, any concerns. Sometimes, you know, students have an idea of what things will look like in their head, and sometimes by, you know, discussing those concerns, we can answer some questions and kind of bring down some of that anxiety. And if you have any questions regarding what the academics will look like, or your child's social and emotional functioning within school, you can reach out to your child's school counselor. So you can contact the school counselors through email, by phone, also through the Microsoft Teams application. Once we return to school, in-person appointments can also be scheduled. And if you contact the school counselor and you or the school counselor feel that the school psychologist or school social worker could be of assistance, they can connect you with them so that they can assist you further in supporting your child and keeping, you know, their social and emotional functioning best in school. Then we're going to discuss the social and emotional learning program.
So as far as social emotional learning goes, we are very lucky in our district that we have been collaborating for many, many years, at least over 10 now, with the elementary districts as well for social emotional training. We have something that's called a wellness committee that we sit on, and it comprises of community members as well as faculty members from both the elementary district and the senior high school district and middle school, of course. So our students and your children have been exposed to social emotional learning for many, many years. The reason why is it's such an important time of their lives, obviously, to understand their emotions and to be able to use those skills in terms of coping and balancing when things are not going as well as we'd hope in our lives. Obviously, during this whole pandemic, it has been very anxiety provoking for many of us. It's been overwhelming. We don't know what the next day is going to bring. Even tonight, the information that we're giving you the most updated information as of now, but that could, of course, change. So with this forever changing environment that we're living in, it can be very anxiety provoking for our children and students. So the social emotional learning that we have been utilizing in the years past, we are now also going to be implementing and creating some more lessons for them coming forward in the days to come. Right away, the first day back at school, we're going to be presenting some social emotional lessons for first period. We think it's important to be doing those check-ins that Ms. Haddock was talking about, trying to gauge and get a sense of how everybody is feeling, what they've been experiencing. Different students may have different levels of anxiety, certainly. They may have had different experiences during the last 5 months off. Some, unfortunately, may have had ill family members. Some students may have been lucky enough to not have that, but have just been maybe overwhelmed with not knowing the answers to some of these questions that we've been talking about. So the first day back of school is going to be right away from the jump off, a time that we're going to utilize that check-in to try to see and gauge for ourselves what we really need to be presenting in the months to come and how we can help. We've also created some small check-in groups that will be run through the pupil support services, so the school psychologists, school social workers, guidance counselors will be incorporated into that. We'll be providing a universal screener during the months to come. And actually probably within the next 6 weeks to, again, try to gauge how best we can support your children and their social and emotional needs at this time. We are also revisiting a partnership with Northwell Health to ensure that our students have access to facilities in the community, as well as the resources that they have within the school. Certainly, if you're noticing anything that's coming up for your child, the guidance counselor is always the first stop, but of course we have psychologists and social workers in the building that are available to be able to assist you in any issues that may be coming up. So it's kind of a living, breathing thing that's going on. It's forever changing, but we are here to help you and your child be able to cope and to be able to be resilient to the changes that are coming in the next few weeks and months to come.
We initiated the Summer Bridge program. We put this together as we wanted to provide a social emotional resource for our school community. So with the Summer Bridge program, this is actually our final forum that we are having this evening. However, there has been a series of forums that have been going on throughout this month. So we certainly want to encourage you as well as your child to go ahead and take a look at the district website. It's right on the front page under the resources tab. You would be able to access the newsletters, any resources and links that we put up there, and including all of the forums. So all of them have been recorded and they are up there for viewing at any time. So the student forums that we've had so far are: why do we feel the way we do, coping and balancing, strategies for dealing with uncertainty, socializing safely in the new reality, transition of middle school to high school, and what will school look like when we return. And in addition, we did have a parent forum of the coping and balancing, and right now this forum. So certainly encourage you to go and take a look at those and access. There's a lot of helpful tips and links that you can access to not only help yourself transition back into a school year, but also to help your child transition.
One of the big things that's going to come up this year, based on our experiences in the spring, is the importance of schoolwork. And in the spring, that was unprecedented and something that we weren't expecting. And so there were different grading policies and, you know, different policies regarding work and schoolwork. And well, I think all of us were just kind of blindsided by the whole thing and just trying to make do. So this year, based on the fact that the governor is sending us back and schools are officially open, we just want to really make sure that you understand the importance of schoolwork. There are going to be students that will be in school and at home at the same time in the hybrid model, and there are students, some of your students will be home full time. Their assignments, everything will be communicated for both the hybrid and the fully remote students through Teams. The assignments will have an integration with the eSchool portal so that you can check assignments and grades and communicate with the teachers. I know that being a teacher, there were a lot of questions in the spring about grades and eSchool and where to look. So there's an integration this year. With all the instruction being implemented on Teams, you can check it at any time to see your child's assignments, their projects, their quizzes. You have access to it. So my suggestion is to make sure that you are checking it as well as they are. This year, grades count. We're back to a regular school day. It just looks a little different. So the grading policies are back into play, and the students' work does count this time. All of the Valley Stream students are provided with a laptop, and you can actually look on the school website. There's some information there because distribution has begun. So any questions that you have about when your time to pick up your child's laptop is, you can access that on the front page of the Valley Stream website. Make sure that you know when you get their laptop how to log in as well, and what their login and password is in case you have questions or if there are technical questions, but also so that you can check up on their teams if you're not getting it on yours. The grading policy, again, is going to be based on their work. So it's going to be important for the students to know that we're going back to school officially. So they do have to show up for the actual remote schedule. So I know a lot of teachers in the spring allowed the students to log into Teams and Zoom, and there were different times, but this time it's an actual school schedule. So make sure that you are in contact with the teachers if you need to be. You can contact us via email, phone, Teams. Probably the best way this year to get in contact with the teachers is through email and Teams, as we're going to be servicing kids at home and in school at the same time. And again, just to really stress the importance that we're back to a regular school day. So they are responsible for coming to school, whether it's remote or hybrid, and there will be attendance, and you have full access so that you can see everything. And again, eSchool will be a lot easier to navigate this year.
So Victoria, you bring up a good point, that we are going back to a regular school day. So I think it's really important that, we stress on that. Us as school counselors, as teachers, any faculty member in the building certainly wants to support their students. They want to support their parents. But it's important that, we are going back to that regular school schedule. So parents, as you're reaching out to teachers or your school counselors, please be mindful that we are going back to that regular school day, and they will be responding as quickly as possible, but that there's going to be that break between school and home. I think, of course, when we were in the midst of all of this in the spring, everyone's schedules were really all over the place. People were communicating at all hours of the day and night, messages coming through in the middle of the night, but that we are transitioning back to that regular school schedule. So that is, when everyone will be able to kind of communicate with one another and best support our students as well as the parents through that process.
The students are going to come in on their scheduled live class days and log into Teams on their scheduled remote days. The students who are doing the hybrid, they'll be on a 4-day rotation where they'll be coming in for a day and then not for a day and then coming in for a day. And the students who are all remote will be working from home every day. So we have posted the schedule for both. To kind of explain the day 1 and day 2 schedule for the A and B cohorts, it can be a little bit overwhelming. The cohort A is the first half of the alphabet, and cohort B is the second half of the alphabet. And the students are still on that day 1 and day 2 schedule, as you'll see when you can access their schedule. So you'll see what cohort they're in and what days they have to come in. Attendance is going to be taken in class for whether or not they're in school or studying or following along remote at home. So attendance still counts. So cohort A, if you look at the next slide, I'll be able to explain it a little bit better. In the next slide, the first day of school is September 3rd. So that first day of school is going to be a day 1 for the A cohort. So the students that are the A cohort will come to school and they'll follow their day 1 schedule. And the cohort B students will be remote on that day and follow their remote schedule along with the fully remote students. On Friday, September 4th, that's also a day 1, but that's a day 1 for the cohort B remote. So if your student is in that second half of the alphabet, they'll come to school on Friday the 4th and follow their day 1 schedule. The students who are in cohort A that were in school the day before, on that day will stay home. On Tuesday the 8th, when we come back after Labor Day, will be a day 2. So the students who are in cohort A will arrive at school on Tuesday morning and follow that day 2 schedule in school. And the B students will follow at home remote, their day 2 schedule. On Wednesday, September 9th will also be a day 2, and that will be for the cohort B students to come into the school, and the cohort A students will follow remote that day. And again, the fully remote students will follow their schedule, their day 1 or day 2, depending on the day, every day. So hopefully that is a little bit of an easier explanation.
Right. So this schedule is definitely unique because the students are following day 1 2 days in a row and then day 2 2 days in a row, which is a little bit different, but this is the pattern that you will follow throughout the school year. So it would be helpful too, even to practice this model perhaps in a planner, that maybe a at-home family planner that you could practice. But I also just want to mention that, you know, as students are coming into the building for in-live, in-person instruction, or they're remote, extra help is still going to be a feature that will be available to all students. So every teacher is going to be offering extra help. Their schedules their schedules are going to vary, and, you know, within the first 2 weeks of school or so, they will identify what their extra help schedule will look like. But students, whether they are in person or remote, they will still have that same access to extra help. And in addition, all extracurricular activities will be available to students, whatever extracurricular activities that are able to continue on. And also, I just want to point out, as we're getting started, you know, I'm looking at this calendar, thinking about today's August 26th, and our students are starting school. They're starting classes, whether they're home or in person, next Thursday. So that is a week from tomorrow. And, you know, all of us have been home for many months at this point. And I think that a lot of us really start to kind of change our sleep habits, change our sleep schedules. So I would certainly encourage you to work with your children in developing some better sleep patterns as they are going to have to be up and ready to go to start school. So, you know, if your child, if you see that your child's going to bed pretty late at night, now would really be a time to start having them go to bed a little bit earlier so they can get up earlier, and each day maybe an hour going to bed earlier, an hour each night. So by the time we get to next week, the shock factor isn't necessarily there, and all of a sudden, you know, we got to get up at, you know, 6:30 again to, you know, get started for the school day. So I would definitely recommend to start implementing that now for next week.
Hi, so we're going to go over some of the common questions and concerns that you might have. So we're going to start with first question, students have to wear a mask. Yes, they do have to wear a mask. You could take them off at lunch to eat, of course. There are going to be also mask breaks during the class time, and the teachers will determine when they're going to have those breaks if they even need them. Second question is, will students get a locker or a gym locker? There'll be no lockers this year. It's to try to eliminate the contact that we have in the hallways with the students. They will be able to carry backpacks, and they will have all that they need in their backpacks. Will students get their own musical instrument? Yes, you will get your own instrument and it will be assigned to you. How do we pay for school lunch and lost items? So some parents already know about this, but myschoolbucks.com is the link that you can get your child set up for school lunch or anything that they have to purchase through the school district. Other after-school sports. All sports have been moved to January 2021. Will all students change classes every period? Yes. Social distancing procedures will be put in place in each building. So they will not be in the same classroom all day. They will be moving like a regular school day.
So I think one was skipped. I just want to go over if the school is shut down, are there still classes? And there will still continue to be classes in the event that we do need to shut down. All students will be expected to then sign on remotely and follow their schedule accordingly.
Okay, so staying organized. Staying organized is always so important, especially when we have all this going on in our lives. To help your child to create an organization system they will consistently use, they can use a digital system if that's what they prefer. So organizing basically is just for like after school kind of things, like your homework, how you're going to do your schoolwork at home, and different ways of staying organized. So another way is to consider using a family calendar so that your child is aware of any upcoming events. So like a dry erase board would be great, some kind of chalkboard, or even just paper and pen if you have, and set up your own calendar so everyone knows what they're doing and when their child is have their events coming up, or even just for homeworks, what to do and all that kind of stuff.
So another idea is just to encourage your child to take breaks when completing academic work. So this could include taking breaks when your child is working at home. So whether they're working fully remote or they're in the hybrid model, while the classes have breaks in between each period, your child can take a break, they can walk around the house, they can get something to eat and just, take a break from the academics. They can also, schedule breaks in when they're doing homework or working on projects or things after school as well. And just to be aware of any signs of procrastination. So if your child might be feeling stressed, or they might be overwhelmed because they are working from home and there's no separation between school and home for them. So just to be aware of times when they might be avoiding doing a task because it seems overwhelming, or they might be spending so long trying to figure out how to start something and just really getting into a task. So breaking something down into smaller steps, like breaking a project down into very small steps so that they seem more manageable, can be helpful. Or making a list of things and prioritizing the most important things first. So those can assist with procrastination. There's also a helpful technique that I often recommend. So you can set a timer for 20 minutes or less time or more time, and then just focus on one task for 20 minutes. So that would include putting your phone away, trying to remove any other distractions, and really intensely focusing on that task. Once the timer goes off, you then set the timer for 5 to 10 minutes and you take a break. So that just provides some structure so that you can hopefully get through homework and whatever assignments with your child. All right, so since your child's going to be home either all 5 days or every other day, it's important to create a workplace that is comfortable and hopefully mostly free of distractions. We know it can be difficult at home with, other siblings or things going on, but it's just an idea to find a space in your home that you can set up for your child. So have necessary supplies on hand, consider, ways to manage distractions within the household, and also speaking to your child about managing digital distractions. Since we're going to be working on the laptops, this does come with the digital distractions. So messages your child might be receiving, and looking at their phone while they're doing their work. So you can speak with them about different ways to kind of control those distractions. And like we mentioned before, reminding your child to take breaks, to drink some water, eat a meal, and also do some physical activity if they're working from home.
So as a reminder, attitude and effort will get us everywhere in life, right? So as parents, as educators, for our children, we want to remind them that having a good attitude, putting in the effort to do work, will help them be successful with whatever they do. Certainly this transition is going to be challenging. I think we are all aware that this is a less than ideal situation. I don't think any of us are thrilled to have to be having gone through what we've gone through in the last 5 months. But I think it's our job as adults, as parents, as educators, to be able to really role model what we want to instill and to try to remember those values that we are trying to instill in our children. So the idea of saying to our kids and students that there's a big difference between liking what's happening and going on in our world right now and accepting what's happening and going on in our worlds right now. I think that acceptance level of saying, okay, this is where we're at. We're dealing with something that we've never dealt with in our lifetime. I say it to my children all the time. I've never been through this. Mom and dad, this is new to us too. We're experiencing this together, and trying to find some positive things that have gone on. So for me, in the last 5 months, I've had dinner more with my family than I ever have since I've had children, being able to sit down and spend that quality time with them. So instead of being stuck at home, we were talking about being safe at home, and just framing the words differently and having that positive attitude to say, we're going to get through this. We're trying to build resiliency in our children and our students. So helping them to learn how to cope with the things that we're talking about, going on the website. I commend you so much as parents for coming out tonight. I know how difficult it is. I know so many of us are back to work and trying to balance all that we're trying to balance, and yet you showing up tonight is a very powerful sign in your child's life that this is important to you, and this transition for them and this time frame in their lives is something that you value and that you're trying to help them negotiate through with the challenges that are coming about. So I think that role modeling, again, as parents, will help them to understand that this is time limited. This is not going to be forever. We're not going to have to do this forever. But right now, it is challenging. And to be able to get through it, taking those moments that are teachable moments for us in school, teachable moments for us and our children at home, to say it's okay and this is how we're going to get through it. So taking the time and the energy to come to these forums, to go onto the website and look at the coping and balancing strategies, some of the strategies we're talking about tonight, will go a very long way with helping your child to transition back into our school for September, which is now right around the corner. So we want to thank you so much for coming out tonight. I know that there were some questions that were coming about, so I think we'll probably utilize this time now that if you wanted to put any questions you may have in the chat box, that certainly the panel will be available to answer them.